Did you know there's nothing more worse in the whole wide world than a sorry man? Can you let an average of 11 to 15-year-olds control you? If you have to go down the hallway and tell your kids to be quiet, you're not in the control. And on a scale of 1 to 10, you're about a 1.5. I don't see any men in here. I see a bunch of boys. Imagine that. Your second week as a brand new teacher, you get hauled into the principal's office and you hear those very words. Those words that were etched into my memory and my life and changed who I was. Now, this is a piece of my journey of what I'm going to share with you and what it had to take to get to me where I am today. Listen, I don't have all the answers, but if you are a new teacher, if you are someone that is struggling with the way that students are, the way that education is going, I have a message for you. You can make it. Listen, I'm a principal now. I've been in administration for over 12 years, and I still remember what it feels like to be a teacher. Some administrators forget that, but the experiences that I've had have carved me and shaped me to be the leader that I am today. You know, one of the things that has kept me going strong, especially through my leadership experience, has been the people that have believed in me. So that first year was difficult, not only from a new person experience, but even culturally, right? Listen, when you're dealing with students that come from different background as you or from different experiences and you don't know how to deal with them, that could be life altering. And if you're not willing to open up and try to figure out how to make things work and how to figure out what to do, it could be daunting, right? There were many days where I would go in my car, my first year teaching, and I would cry because I didn't know what to do. And it was because of the people that were around me during that time that helped me be who I am today and carried me and helped me every step of the way. Listen, even after I got out of teaching, I only lasted 6 years, and I went to administration because I knew that I really wanted to make an impact early on. But even stepping into administration early was kind of difficult. My first year as a principal, like most, difficult. But it was times that I felt like, is this right for me? Where people encouraged me and helped me to keep going. And I want to share that with you. Now, I often carry a bag with me or just a notebook, and I like to write notes in. And one of the most important and most meaningful positive words that came was this right here. Now, this is over 10 years old, and I carry it with me everywhere I go because it reminds me of my purpose in this life. And it goes, I want to read it. It says, Mr. Chiles, I want to encourage you. I see that the heart that you have for the children and adults as well. I'm thankful for the level of spiritual maturity and that I bring to the school. I know there are areas that I plan to work on improving, and I appreciate your honesty with your staff. I believe that so many things in life are accomplished through a process and not overnight. Your desire to be all that you want to be as a leader is evident. Continue to trust in the Lord who put you in this place at this time. When you know you are His, it is easier to work in this world without being discouraged by this world. May God richly bless you with the wisdom you seek. Y'all, I carry this around with me every single day, and I take it out on occasion and remind myself of the reason why I do what I do. Listen, there are going to be times in your life, if you're a new teacher or if you're a new administrator, where you feel like you're going to give up. But I'm sure along the way, somebody has given you a piece of positive reinforcement and they've written it down. Keep it with you. Open it up every time that you have a challenging day or a challenging week or a year, and remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself of your purpose, because there is greatness in you. And because we so often focus on the negative, it can throw us off and throw us off on the destiny that God put us in, the place that he put us in at that particular moment. Now listen, there's no great recipe for how to be a leader or how to be a teacher. It involves a lot of different things, and over time you have to experience it yourself in order to know your strengths and your weaknesses. But there are 4 things that I have learned within myself that I want to just leave with you. And it's really, it's my purpose, it's my mission, it's my intention, and it's called real education. I've said this in many other videos. I put it on my wall at my job, and it is so true, because we really do need real education, things that are relevant, empathetic, that have action and lifelong learning. Outside of those 4 things, what else is education? If education does not have relevance, empathy, action, and lifelong learning, what are we doing? Now, look, many people will sit and there's so many different topics about how education needs to be changed and overhauled. And listen, I have a lot of pet peeves as well. But at the end of the day, you have the ability to impact a child or a staff member or a person or a community or a family member, one person at a time. So live in the moment, live where you know that you can make an impact. And again, for me, it's through real education. Relevance. Listen, we have to be in the here and the now, right now. If I stayed where I was almost 20 years ago, I probably would have left education, right? Because I was like, it's not for me. I can't adapt to these situations. I can't adapt to all of the students that are around me that I'm brand new, right? A lot of these students are struggle with the day to day. Some of them are hungry. Like, trying to learn is the last thing on their mind. I had to learn that. So I had to be in the here and now, like, this wasn't about me. This is about me trying to impact these kids. And because I was trying to be relevant, and I learned and I sat and I listened to my mentors and I listened to the people around me that were trying to encourage me, I started to grow. My second and third year, I started to learn how to be able to be an impact, and it really came towards building relationships with those students. Key. I know it gets overused and oversold, but you really got to have a relationship with the students, even with your colleagues as well. Listen, as an administrator, I have to learn how to grow relationships with my colleagues and with my staff members, because sometimes we have different personalities. And so we have to learn how to be able to navigate through those so that everybody can be successful. The next thing is empathy. I've learned over and over again, I have to lead with empathy. It's not enough to just know that I have to live in someone else's shoes or experience someone else's life. That's not the main point. The main point is that you understand that person's life in the perspective that you can, so that your reaction is not reactionary, but is one of proaction. How can I help you? Right? So if we learn how to lead with empathy and learn how to lead with, even when you are leading with empathy, you still can hold someone accountable. But the accountability that you're providing is going to be, I'm here to help you. Action is so important. Look, to be active both mentally and physically. Health is the number one thing that you have. Even rich people die of the same diseases that poor people do. And so you would think that somebody's rich has access to 24-hour health care. They have all of the top level doctors, and yet some people still die of the same diseases and the same things. They still die of heartbreak. And so it's important to be active both mentally and physically, to make sure you're moving your body as much as you can, and to keep your brain physically active, and to make sure that you're mentally active and physically active so that your health is your wealth. And even in the classroom, 20, 30 years ago when people were like, hey, you know what, I'm the sage on stage, I'm going to give all the information and you're going to sit there and you're going to write it out. Like, we know that that's not working, right? So, but now we have an overactive student population. And so what do? Sometimes we're still working with worksheets, and sometimes we are trying to give students what we call brain breaks. But it's important more than anything to get those students moving. Because you know what, listen, if they're already hyperactive, go ahead and try as much to try to incorporate movement in the classroom so that they can actually get that energy out and still be able to learn. And finally, fostering lifelong learning. It's important. And this is what really is the key that really wraps all of this together. My persistence to learn and continually reflect on my actions and on my impact, even from my first year teaching all the way up, even to this very day. That has kept me grounded, has kept me humbled, and kept me being able to pursue not the next latest and greatest thing, but what works and what's sustainable. And what I have found is that it's always simple. The simple things matter the most. It's everybody being on the same page, communicating, and being able to show that, listen, no one knows it all. But if you continuously try to foster a love for learning, whether you're 5 years old or you're 85, people will gravitate to that. So listen, this is just a part of my journey. I believe that, you know what, maybe I was sorry my first year, but I've grown. And maybe I didn't know how to get a student to be quiet in the hallways when I went down the hallway the first year. Yeah, and maybe I wasn't in control. But I've learned a thing or two about classroom management. I've learned a thing or two about how to lead people. And even though I've had ups and downs, overall, I've had a great ride and a great journey. And I'm looking forward to the next several years to make an impact, not only for myself, but for our future, which is our students. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Oh man, dog. I hope that worked. Okay.